Hello, this is your favorite investigative reporter on political stuff, talking about PCR receipts and stuff. I did talk to there's quite a lot of questions that have come up from candidates and stuff regarding these PCR receipts, signing them, the booklet, the EP-3 booklet, these things, and also the Campaign Finance Reporter Online EP-3 printout that you can do that I don't think it supports the idea of an electronic signature on the printout. I think some of the candidates are adding electronic signatures on top using PDF software like Adobe and stuff. Okay, so the deal is to get for your recipient, for your donor to receive a PCR refund from Minnesota Department of Revenue, they're definitely going to have one of these things filled out. And I wouldn't take I would tell them you have to sign it, wet sign it. Don't make a photocopy of it and send in the photocopy and keep the original one. Send the original one in to the Minnesota Department of Revenue, and then I think the Minnesota Department of Revenue will probably be happy because they want originals, and that's an original. So you send in this is a photocopy or this is a printout from a PDF, but what it makes it original is this wet signed with their information, and then they did it by hand and they signed it and stuff. Okay, and now the next thing they got to have is they got to have a receipt. They got to have something like one of these receipts from here or one of those EP-3 receipts that came from Campaign Finance Reporter. The next thing is that receipt has to be signed by the candidate. Okay, now this is a debated thing here because Revenue says you have to sign it by the candidate, whereas the Campaign Finance Board seems to say that you can have either the candidate or the treasurer sign it. Technically, the Revenue says the candidate has to sign it. But I get the impression that Revenue doesn't really care. Revenue will accept whoever, because I know that they have accepted treasurer signed ones before. So I think that their thing on the website's intended to mean candidate or maybe designated representative, like like the Campaign Finance Board says, because I think the EP3 stuff says literally the treasurer can do it too. So. Now the other thing is revenue is seems to support the idea of electronic signatures, but they want a signature. Now you have to look at the law regarding electronic signatures, and basically the signer has to have knowledge and control of their mechanical electronic signature, so you can't just have somebody rubber stamping stuff. So there's a danger in having somebody using an electronic signature when the candidate or the treasurer or whatever doesn't know it. I think that's why they put in there the candidate. But anyway, and then just make sure, I think that was it. The things that are in dispute are the other thing is some people are talking about how they print the Campaign Finance Reporter, 8.5 by 11 one. They sign it, they scan the stack, and then they electronically send the donors the scanned version, and then they keep the wet signed one. I think the state Campaign Finance Board would be okay with that. Kind of get the impression that Revenue would be okay with that, especially if there's a wet signature on the actual PCR application. So I think this is the thing that they really are sticklers on. I don't think they're so stickler on the receipt, but I think sending them an electronically copied wet signature, which pretty much means it's not a wet signature anymore, is a little bit more dangerous than just sending them an actual signed campaign EP3 and then making sure that they're good on that. And then I think that's it. Hopefully. And then people will ask a whole bunch more questions. But anyway, hope this helps.